Everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. My guest today is Chef Valerie Wilson, and she has a wonderful book in the Vegan Health Bundle happening only this week. It's Scrumptious Burgers, and she's going to talk about her burgers and healing and more. Please welcome her back to the show. How have you been?
I have been very well, Chef AJ. Thank you for having me back on the show. It's always a pleasure to be here.
My
And
pleasure as well. People were talking about your book because Vicky was on the other day talking about the book. So she kind of pumped it up for you.
that's nice. Yeah. I've been trying to catch some of your shows during the bundle week. I saw Vicky on there and I saw Sid. Both of them, I saw them on your show so far. And so for people who want to know what we're talking about, I taught a cooking class with two other beautiful ladies that are in the bundle also, Sid Nodder and Vicky Bratgock. And the name of it is Scrumptious Plant-Based Burgers and More. So last year, I had this great idea to teach a cooking class with other talented people from the bundle last year. And so I put the word out and Vicky and Sid said, okay. And I had like in my head, I was creating this new recipe inspired by the flavors of a pasty. And so I wanted to make a burger like that. And that's kind of what the class revolved around. I wanted each one of the ladies to make a veggie burger that was near and dear to their heart as the signature burger. And so that's what we created. But we also have side dishes. And then after the class was done with, the three of us got together and we also created like an e-cookbook and we added more veggie burgers and more side dishes. And so the burger that inspired the class is a pasty burger. And this is my pasty burger.
What is a pasty burger?
I was going to ask you if you've ever had a pasty,
I
Chef Ida.
pasty. I mean, I've had a patty melt way back in the day when I ate meat
Yeah.
almost 50 years ago. Pasty, I don't know what that is.
So a pasty is a traditional English food, and my mom's side of the family is from England. And when the men used to go and work in the mine, they needed a lunch that was handheld that they could take with them. And so the traditional one had meat in it, but of course we don't want meat. But traditionally it had the meat, but in England it had to have rutabagas because rutabaga is such an English vegetable. And so my pasty burger, one of the signature flavors is rutabaga and also onions, lots and lots of onions you have to have in a pasty. And usually there's potatoes. Now I went with a sweet white potato because I just like the flavor. It gives it so much more of a flavor. And then also in the veggie burger is some millet, the whole grain millet that helps hold it together. And so I adjusted the flavorings to attempt to make it taste like a pasty, which my mom gave it a thumbs up. So I think I achieved that. And then
Nice.
it has an onion white sauce because a pasty doesn't have gravy inside of it. It's got like a white sauce. So it's got an onion white sauce. And then for anybody who's gluten-free, I also made this homemade gluten-free bun. And the base of that's quinoa. And so that's the signature burger that I taught in the class. Now, Sid did an Italian pizza burger, and Vicky did a fiesta fajita burger with a pile of vegetables on top of it. And the three of us had a wonderful time. So all those recipes and the cooking class is in the bundle.
Nice. Nice. Well, burgers are great. I love to batch cook plant burgers because then I can freeze them and always have a quick meal.
Absolutely. And then in the burger book also is my millet sweet potato burgers, which is one of my favorites. And I do what you do. I make a bunch of them and I put them in the freezer. And Lisa Rice, who's also in the bundle, she made my millet sweet potato burgers and she loved them. And I've been busy cooking. This is one of Lisa Rice's dishes in her book called Around the World, where it's all plant-based recipes from around the world. And this one is, I have to write this down, Vietnam. This one was inspired from Vietnam and has a delicious peanut sauce, lots of vegetables. Now her recipe, she put them in rice paper and made rolls. I didn't have any rice paper, so I served it on a bed of rice. And yeah, I understand there's over 2,000 recipes in the
Yeah,
bundle.
over 2,000. That's like, over 10 cookbookfuls, And a lot of cookbooks don't even have 200 recipes. A lot of cookbooks are 100 recipes. So maybe it's 20 cookbooks.
Absolutely, yeah. And so I have something else in the bundle. Do you want to hear about it?
I do.
The other thing I have in the bundle is called Healing with Foods. Now, this is a class I taught, and it's 3 classes. And I was really excited about teaching this because I've been accumulating this knowledge for like over 20 years. And so, in the 3 classes, the first one is onion and garlic. The second one is aloe and comfrey. And the third one is ginger, and one of my all-time favorites, turmeric. So in the classes, I go into the history of the food, like how long have they been using this food in medicinal purposes to help heal the body? And some of these foods have been used since, the Egyptian times, even ancient Greek times. Some of these foods, it's been since before recorded history, like garlic. They've been using so long for its strong antibiotic properties. So in the class, I go through the history. I also go through a little bit of explanation about what is inflammation, and if this thing happens to you, like if your body swells, do you want to use a cooked onion poultice or a raw onion poultice? And then I also visually show you how to make a poultice. I show you how to make a compress. And I also have some delicious tea recipes. I have some that are potent, like a flu bomb tea that's pretty strong, because if you're sick, you got to have some medicine. But I take some of them and I adjust the flavors. So actually, some of them are very tasty. Like yesterday, I was on Kathy Hester's show and I made my milky turmeric tea that actually tastes very, very delicious. Got a little bit of ginger, a little bit of turmeric, and it's very delicious. So in those 3 classes, you'll be able to learn that. And I really want people to understand that food is delicious. I love food, but food is medicine too, and it has a lot of healing properties. And when you learn these techniques and you realize you have these in your house, then you can heal yourself using these things. And if you do it once, you're going to do it twice, and then you'll do it a third time. The more you do it, the more it becomes second nature, and you'll remember, oh yeah, I have a black and blue mark. I remember I can put some, steamed onion on that to help heal it, and so you'll remember that the more you start to use these foods in a healing like way that they're going to help you.
That sounds amazing. Did you have a chance to look at the bundle for other people's products that you might like?
Absolutely. So there's so much in the bundle. I have to admit, I haven't gotten to a lot of it, but Kathy Hester and her partner Cheryl, thriving on the starch diet. They went on the McDougall plan, and so she's got some really good recipes in there. She's got black rice, forbidden rice in there, which is one of my favorites. I love that. Lori Laundry, plants, pills, and punchlines. I interviewed her and she's got tremendous, I think you talked to her too, or maybe you're going to, but she healed her body from so many different things, and she was on so many prescription drugs. And so that's in the bundle. She's going to tell you her story of how the food healed her body. I found that her story very interesting.
Yeah, I had her on. She was really, really incredible. It was
And
very inspiring.
sorry,
It's
I
very inspiring because she had so many operations as a child from an autoimmune condition.
and I think you had Angelica on
This
today.
morning. Yep.
Yeah, so she's the yoga lady. I love her yoga stuff. And so I signed up for her 7-day challenge, Yoga for All Bodies. I haven't got a chance to start it yet, but I love Angelica. I showed you Lisa Rice's food, and Sid Nodder, that I did the cooking class with, she had put her whole book, the Plan A Diet, in there. And I got a chance to, I haven't read it, but I looked through it, and it's great for people who are just starting. It's got a lot of basics, a lot of great suggestions. And the bundle is for everybody, whether you're just starting your journey or you've been on your journey for a while, or even people who are not vegan or, whole foods right now. This will get you started. And I think Sid's book was very nice.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
haven't talked to her yet, but Margaret Freitag, the Picky Kids she put a course in there to try and help kids eat vegan whole foods if they're picky. Have you talked to her yet?
She's been on, but not recently, but that sounds like an incredible resource for somebody with a picky kid.
Yeah, I'm supposed to talk to her. I can't in the next couple days, but from my understanding, there's 4 things in the bundle for kids, for vegan cooking for kids. I'm so excited about that. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, Dr. Nikki Davis put in a little video course with an ebook for kid-friendly recipes.
Mhm. So starting in a couple months, I'm going to be teaching classes at the local library for teens. I'm going to be teaching cooking classes for teens at the local library. So I think that's wonderful to get kids involved cooking healthy and vegan. I think that's great. And of course, I think I have a love affair with this woman, but Chef Julia Dunaway.
Oh, her books are always incredible.
Oh,
Japanese art too.
yeah. So, she cooks with sea vegetables, which my background is in macrobiotic cooking. So we cook with sea vegetables. I can't pronounce it, but this is her kombu dish where she cooks the kombu with flavorings and you cook it down. It is so flavorful. It's so delicious. And I did a couple of her tofu recipes. This is marinated garlic miso tofu, and she uses a mellow miso. I love mellow miso, very flavorful. Now, this one is so interesting because it's called quote unquote mock salmon. So it's interesting with the flavor profile, and it kind of looks like little pieces. I've been just taking little pieces and eating it as a snack. And those are Chef Julia Dunaway's recipes. I've been having fun looking at the recipes. And then the collaborative cookbook that we all submitted a recipe to.
I love that book. Yep.
I think I'm going to print that one out because there's just so many recipes in there from everybody. And that's going to be that's a collector's item because it's only available in this bundle. No other bundle. You're not going to be able to get that
Yep.
anywhere else.
Never gonna sell it again. Where do you go? Do you just go to to a Kinko's or a copy store when you print out your ebooks?
I haven't done it yet, but Vicky, she's in Ann Arbor and I'm in Westland, Michigan. We're in the same place. And I do believe, well, I think she does it. She has a printer at home. I think she mentioned to me going to a Kinko's or something, but I can always ask Vicky where the best place is to go print it out.
Yeah, because she had all 3 of her books on the show the other day. They look great. They look like real books.
Yeah, she's got her new dessert cookbook in the bundle. Yeah. And that purple icing on the cover. Yeah, when she was on your show, you asked her what that purple icing was. She said it was a purple sweet potato. Yeah.
Yeah, that looked incredible, didn't it? What
Yeah.
I've been doing is, so I just obviously it takes a while to go through the bundle. Some people can download it in as little as 20 minutes. Some people takes a little longer, depending on your device and your finesse with downloading. But I find things, and then what I like to do, and just to save paper, I'll look and I'll find a recipe. Like this is the carrot cake cookies from Amanda Six book, and I'll print it out, and then I will make it.
Yeah, that's great. So this is the recipe that I submitted to the collaborative cookbook. It's brown rice and aduki beans with asparagus, a signature spring vegetable asparagus, and it also has sauerkraut in it. Do you like sauerkraut?
Ooh, I love sauerkraut, especially if it's got a little bit of dill in it. Yeah, I put it on all my plant burgers, by the way.
Ooh, yum. Absolutely. Yeah.
I even
Yeah, go ahead.
I even put it on Mexican food where it maybe doesn't belong. I put on sauerkraut. I
That's
put it on
interesting.
tostadas. I love sauerkraut. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'm a
get the
huge
real
sauerkraut.
clean, get a real clean raw brand from Costco. It's 4 ingredients in order: cabbage, water, garlic, and salt. And yes, there is salt, and there is salt free, but God, it never tastes as good, to be quite honest.
I make sauerkraut myself. And in fact, just last month I had a sauerkraut cooking class and I have a huge crock. It's like this big. I put like 5 heads of cabbage in the crock and then I let it ferment. And yeah, I love it. Absolutely love sauerkraut.
Yeah, I love it too.
So I wanted
So
to, oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna show your audience and show you a little bit about onions and the healing benefits of onions. That's from my Healing with Food contribution to the bundle.
Nice. Well, onions are awesome. I don't know how people cook without them. I frankly can never make food taste very good without it.
I think almost all my recipes start with onions.
That's what I always say. Everything starts with an onion.
And so I'm going to show you how to make a steamed onion poultice. And so a poultice is when you use the actual plant or the actual food. A compress is when you make the tea with it, and then you use a cloth. And so this is a poultice with an onion, and the onion has strong anti-inflammatory properties. I'm just going to cut the onion, depending on how much area or surface you need to cover. You don't need much, and you just cut it very, very thin. And I've got a steamer pot over here. I'm going to steam it for literally maybe a minute and a half. You're just getting it warm. You don't really need to steam it for a long time. And what that does is the natural juices start to come out of the onion. And then I always have, and probably people have, dressing bandages or sponges in your house or something like that. I've got a piece of it here. And then if you don't have the dressing sponges, you could use a cheesecloth. I've even done it with a piece of paper towel. If that's all that I had available. Whoops, sorry about that. That was my phone.
No.
And so, yeah, in the class, I also teach that sometimes you use a cooked onion poultice and sometimes you use a raw onion poultice. So a cooked one would be for swelling or black and blue marks. But a raw poultice would be, you would put it on your chest if you had congestion or something like that. So that would be the difference. So I'm going to demonstrate the steamed one.
I remember learning about poultices at the Optimum Health Institute, and they seem to make them out of wheatgrass of all things.
Wheatgrass. Oh, that's so, yeah, you can make a poultice out of anything. So that's really interesting. All right, those are the steamed onions. And then I'm just gonna put them into the cloth. Now, you could use this. I don't have children. I always wanted to, but I've heard many people testify that this steamed onion poultice is really good if your child has an earache. And so you just put the onion in there like so. And if your child had an earache, you would put it on your ear like this. And you know what? This feels really good. That warm poultice on your ear, it feels really good. And then, so this would be really good for that. Now, let's say you have a swollen jaw or whatever, like you had a toothache or something, you could put it there. If you accidentally hit and bruised yourself and it was swollen, you could put it there. So that would be that. Now, I also like to tell personal stories, and there's personal stories in my class also, but I had this beautiful cat, a all white cat named Angel, and he lived for 23 years and he was very healthy, except for the last year of his life. And he got swollen, infected anal glands. I never even heard of such a thing until it happened to my cat. So I did a little bit of research, and it's inflammation, it's swollen, it's infected. So I took the onion just like this, and I held him in my arm, and I put it on his swollen anal glands. Well, he didn't like that very much. But I was able to leave it there just for like a couple minutes, and then he would squirm and he would go away. So I usually did that maybe like 3 or 4 times a day. I would hold him and I would put that on there. I also put some fresh grated turmeric in the area also because of the inflammation. And it was really, because he was all white. He then had like an orange spot on him. But I continually worked on him like this. And then when my vet saw him, it was already cleared up. The infection, the swollenness, it was already cleared up by the time she saw him. And she went, well, what you did worked. It was fantastic. It just worked great, So it's good for inflammation, being swollen, infection, anything like that. You can use the steamed onion poultice.
Wow. Did the vets start using those after hearing about your success?
Now, I mean, my vet is holistic though, so I do go to a holistic vet, but she's also traditional. And she always says to me, it's kind of funny, she never sees me. because I always treat all my cats with natural things and I feed them organic cat food and the healthiest. So, it's very rare that she sees my cats. So, but she is a sweetheart and she is slightly holistic. So she understands, but I don't think she's going to use the steamed onion, which is a shame. She should, but now in the class, I also emphasize, the onions and eating the onions, but some people don't like the onions because they're pungent. Some people can't handle that pungent flavor, which is a shame. So I teach how to make onion butter, and I'm going to show you that right now. Have you ever had onion butter?
I haven't, but I think I have seen recipes for it on certain vegan websites, like maybe Kathy Hester or Fat Free Vegan. It sounds amazing, like it would be very rich without all the fat.
Absolutely. The only ingredient in it is onions.
Oh my gosh.
So you start with 2 diced onions. So that's a lot, 2 diced onions. And then you put it into a large saute pan and you just put a little bit of, water in there. You can start with like 1 or 2 tablespoons of water, and then you're cooking it on a medium heat until the onions become soft. And you might have to add a little more water. You don't want it to dry and scorch the onions. So on a medium heat, it's basically a water saute of the onions until the onions become soft. Now, once they become soft, you turn the heat on your stove to the lowest possible temperature and you put a lid on it and you let it cook for 2 hours. That's a long time. There's so much water inside of an onion that your onion is not going to dry up, okay? But during the 2-hour process, you can check it. Every once in a while, lift the lid up and say, yep, it's going, it's good. But you put it on the lowest possible heat and you let it cook for 2 hours. And what you get is soft and sweet, and it's spreadable. A lot of people eat this on bread or something like that because it's spreadable. And there isn't much left between 2 whole raw onions and what's left after it cooks for 2 hours. So it's concentrated. It's a concentrated flavor and it's nice and sweet. And so I tell people, you could make this onion butter. It lasts in the refrigerator for a good 10 days or so, but you could also freeze it. And then you have onion butter on hand if you don't eat it up because it's really good. But this is a great way to get onions into your body on a regular basis for the healing properties. And God forbid, if you did get sick, strong anti-inflammatory properties, also has antiviral, antiseptic properties. So you could eat this most definitely if you're sick. But here's the comparison. It starts with 2 cups. And then once it cooks for 2 hours, it's reduced dramatically. But the flavor is amazing.
And could you cook it like in a slow cooker if you wanted?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just as long as you've got a low setting. Sure. Absolutely.
What about even a pressure cooker? But that's not slow, that's fast.
Yeah. A pressure cooker, I think the heat would be too high. Yeah. You want to use a low heat. Yep. Absolutely.
Makes sense. One of the viewers, I don't know if you can answer this. Let's see. Oh, my chat disappears so fast. Well, something about raw fruits. Let's see if I can find the thing, because I know that I'm not a nutritionist at all by any stretch of the imagination. And Kumar is saying to share more Indian Asian raw fruits for better gut health and underweight issues, chronic cystitis, and SIBO. Neither of us are doctors, so I would suggest when we have one of the plant-based doctors on, you ask that question, especially a GI doctor. Do you know anything about that, Val?
Not Indian fruit, no, but I do know that turmeric is exceptionally wonderful for your stomach and your gut and your digestion, but that's a different topic than what they had mentioned there. And in the class and also here, this is food as medicine, but as Chef AJ said, neither one of us are doctors. I'm just sharing my experience from using the foods in a healing way. And I've been studying it for 20 years, but God forbid, if anything major happens, you got to go to the hospital, you got to seek medical advice, this is for informational purpose, for your own personal purposes, entertainment, whatever, neither one of us are doctors. We're using food as medicine. So yeah.
Right. I don't know if you know this question from Marek. What is the best food for chronic fatigue syndrome?
Well, I would say if you have chronic fatigue syndrome, you need to eat the vegan whole food lifestyle that Chef AJ and I do, and the bundle would be a great place to start. However, my first suggestion with anybody is to start eating brown rice, because you know how much I love brown rice, and that's always my first suggestion when someone comes along. And the whole grain brown rice will digest very slowly in your gut, and it releases glucose very slowly in your system to give you long, sustainable energy. But chronic fatigue is a complex issue that's going on, and you need to do more than that. But she just asked for one thing, and so that would be my suggestion.
Right. And Mary's saying, what do you feed your, what did you feed your cat?
Newman's Own organic. Right now I'm feeding the Purina came out with an organic chicken and rice. And so I try and look for the best quality, no additives. I don't give my cats, I've never given my cats anything that has eggs, anything that has dairy, and I won't give them anything that has beef in it. Yeah. And I have 5 cats now.
Wow. That's a lot.
I
You're making a lot of poultices for them?
No, because they're very, very healthy. So it wasn't until my one cat was 23 years old that I had to help him along. But I have 2 cats, a male and a female. And last year they got together and had kittens. And it was the most glorious, wonderful thing. I stayed up all night long and watched my cat give birth to 4 beautiful, healthy kittens. Now, I did give one away to a very, very nice home. But the longer that the other one stayed in my house, the more I fell in love with them. And now I have 5 cats, but it's such a blessing. They make me laugh every day, and they cuddle up and sleep with me. And they're just such great, great companions. And Chef AJ knows. So how is Bailey doing?
Oh, she's good. Thank you so much for asking. It's hard because, a lot of people make their dogs vegan, but you really shouldn't make cats vegan, right? They're obligate carnivores, aren't they?
I've done some studying, and there are some people that they do feed their cats a vegan diet. There's even a vegan vet that I follow. The vegan cat food is expensive, and you have to add a lot of
Supplement. Yeah.
supplementation to it and everything. And so I have not tried that, but I have been listening to people and learning more about it. But no, I haven't done that.
Yeah. Vidya, we aren't doctors, so I really would think you could benefit more for having a consultation with one of the plant-based doctors, because we can't really help you with that. I'm sorry for your situation, but we have many, many resources. I don't know where you live. If you want to post it, I can find you one, but pretty much all of them are doing virtual if you can't find a local one. But even if you did make a cat vegan, would the cat even like it?
I also belong to a private Facebook group where people, that's a vegan cat thing, and they say their vegan cats like it. They feed their vegan cats tofu. So you know what, when my cats are kittens, they'll come over and they'll sniff my plate, and I'll give them a piece and see if they eat it. And the kittens are more curious, and when they're younger, they'll kind of romp, 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 chop on it. The older they get, they're not interested. That's been my experience. I don't know. So maybe if you get them when they're kittens, when they're young, you might be able to do that. But again, that's something you have to do research on, and decide for yourself whether that's a road you want to go down.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you get a chance to look at some of the other courses in the bundle that aren't the food courses?
Let's see, I haven't got a chance to explore them yet. I opened the McDougall gut program to just look at it.
Actually, that might be a good one for the person that keeps talking about gut issues, to get the bundle just to look at that course.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and then I opened Angelica's yoga course and I signed up for it, but I haven't got a chance to do it yet because I've been, well, kind of busy. And yeah, so those are a couple that I've looked at so far.
Very cool. So do you teach most of your classes virtually, other than these ones you're doing in the library?
No, I live in Michigan and the last, you know, 3 years, everybody kind of went virtual and I did a lot of virtual, but now everybody's opening up and they want in-person classes. So I'm teaching at libraries, I'm teaching at health food stores, I'm teaching here in my house. Once a month, I have a class at my house where everybody comes here and they help make the food and they learn how to make the food and they love that. They love cooking with me, getting in there, like the sauerkraut class. We all made the sauerkraut together and then they taste the food. That's my students' favorite part, right? We get to eat the food and the food is so delicious. So they enjoy that a lot.
And
So,
is
and
it
then,
these are hands-on classes with you?
yes, everybody helps make the
Wow.
food. Yes, absolutely. And then I usually have one in-person class in my home and one virtual class out of my home. So it's like this. And the virtual ones, it's really interesting because people are now buying the ingredients and they're cooking with me, only it's virtual. They're in their kitchen and I'm in my kitchen and we're cooking together, which I love. It's like interactive cooking. I really enjoy that. So yeah, I have both in-person and virtual and all of my upcoming classes and everything about me is on my website, macroval.com.
Did you study at the Kushi Institute?
No, I was never fortunate enough to study there. The lady that I apprenticed under, she went to the Kushi Institute. Mhm.
Ah, nice, nice. Well, thanks so much for being in the bundle.
Yeah, make sure everybody's got to realize it's only for sale until Sunday, March 10th. So you've got to get the bundle. I am so impressed with this collection of items. It's really something. Everybody so far from the feedback I've gotten, once they get it and they start opening the things, they're like, wow, Val, I can't believe how much stuff is in here. Yep,
Yeah,
lots and
absolutely.
lots
And,
of
and
stuff.
and what people don't know is those of us behind the scenes have made so many new friends that to last a lifetime.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Yep.
you've been super busy and I at late at night when I'm in my kitchen cooking, I've been pulling up your show this week to listen to all the interviews you've done with all the bundle people.
Yep. Well, there's 150. I could only get on 50 of them. I mean, there's at some point, a person's got to sleep. Val, if
Absolutely.
people want to follow you, where's the best place to send them?
Facebook.
That's
Yeah.
your, that's where you hang out the most.
Yeah, Macro Val food. I know a lot of people are on Instagram, but I'm not on Instagram as much as Facebook. I am on Facebook more. And I also have a YouTube channel, Chef Valerie Wilson.
And I'm
And
sure you gave that to me for the show notes. I'm sure you,
yes.
yeah.
And in fact, with the crazy algorithms on Facebook, if you leave a comment on my YouTube video, I'm more likely to see it quicker than on the Facebook. I'll eventually see it on Facebook, but actually YouTube is a little quicker.
Yeah, I love YouTube. That's my favorite. So what's for dinner tonight?
Oh, I'm gonna make this isn't in the bundle, but I'm making leek, asparagus, lentil spring soup. And so I'm making that. I have a customer who special ordered it from me and everything. And so I'm gonna look in the bundle though. There's this recipe that Lisa did. It's bread, but it's from her friend Lauren's cookbook. And she made this bread bowl. Lisa did. And she posted this picture. You should see this picture. Lisa Rice. And it's a bread bowl, and inside of it is a spinach dip. And the bread is gluten-free and there's no yeast in it.
Yeah, and I think it's made with potato partly, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was really blown away. I'm like, how can you make bread like with no yeast? Like what? So I pulled up the recipe and I don't know when I'm going to make it, but the next few days I'm going to try making that bread recipe out of the bundle for sure.
Yeah, that
So
sounds good. That looked really, really good. Yep. Well, Val, thanks so much.
thank you for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you for all your hard work creating the bundle and getting all of us together. And this is, I don't know. know, what is it called this week? Like
I think we
Christmas
call
celebration or
Yeah,
something?
it feels like it. We call it bundle week, but it's just and again, if anybody out there has a product, it has to be vegan, it has to be oil free. Obviously, it doesn't have to be food vegan because we have an animal advocacy course, a decluttering course. Please get in touch with us at our customer service email, which is uwlbundle@gmail.com. And we'd love to include you next year, either as a contributor or an affiliate. Okay, here's a question. Is there anything in the bundle for people who dislike and are not really skilled at cooking? Well, I would have to say yes, because there's courses that actually with recipes that kids can make. And so if a kid could make it, ostensibly you could too. And also there are courses that don't have to do with food at all. So, like I said, animal advocacy, fitness courses, fascia flow. There's so much. If I did do a video on the first day where I literally went through on screen share with every single item in the bundle, but I would encourage you, Greater Holy Temple Music Department, to please just click the link. If you click the link, you're not obligated to buy anything, but then you can see every single product. There'll be a thumbnail of it. So that's what I would recommend.
And Lori Laundrie, the author of the Pills and Punchline books, when I interviewed her, like I'm a chef, I love to cook. She's like, I don't like to cook. So she put some recipes in there that she says are super easy and just done lickety split. So those would be great recipes for someone like who asked the question.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even though a few of the contributors are real chefy chefs, most of us are more like home cooks, and so I think you'll find the recipes fairly easy. And you do have a year from the time you purchase it to download the bundle. We recommend you do it sooner than later. All right, thanks so much, Val. Guys,
Have a
come
good
back.
day.
Yeah, you too. Come back in about 20 minutes. We have another show with another bundle contributor, and her name is Cashew Kelly. I wonder if she's going to be using